The most prominent art critic of his age, Robert Hughes, has died in New York at the age of 74. Mr Hughes had been suffering from a long-term illness and the after effects of a car accident near Broome in 1999, which almost claimed his life. He was a trailblazing critic, cutting through the hyperbole of the art world, and his history of convict Australia, The Fatal Shore, is lauded as a masterpiece. Hamish Fitzsimmons reports.
His was one of the most distinctive voices, whether talking about cities, history, art or architecture.
The outside, which is pure Utzon, is and remains a marvel. I don't know of a more exhilarating modern building. The shells are more than I was told and much more than I could have hoped.
He had what Aristotle says is the fundamental gift in a writer, the gift of metaphor. So he could say, you know, Caravaggio's figures are rough trade with hair like black ice cream. And you know, he's just got it.
Robert Hughes was born into a prominent Sydney family and emerged as part of the group of Sydney University students and others referred to as the Push. Amongst them was author Eva Cox, who describes the young Robert Hughes in the same way as many who knew him later in life.
Smart, funny, good-looking, very confident, drew lovely cartoons, sent people up, very strong sense of humour, good fun to be with.
After cutting his teeth in the limited world of Australian art criticism, Hughes moved to Europe in the mid-60s. In 1970, he was appointed Time magazine's art critic based in New York, and he was soon the most notable voice in the art world.
A great Pollock like this one is about intense energy acting in deep space rather than those small, precise, enumerated movements working on a flat field that you see in Williams's work.
In the early 70s, as fame fuelled his confidence, Robert Hughes made a celebrated return to Australia.
Another one, I suppose, if it weren't for the, I think, disagreeable, horny sort of texture of the paint and that sense of the whole thing being overworked and rather indecisive, is this landscape of Fred Williams.
He'd always viewed the world through a distinctly Australian prism, publishing the acclaimed history The Fatal Shore in 1987.
I think one of the things which America helped him do was to keep that old, overtly patrician, and in fact deeply democratic, Aussie manner.
I realise now that that time on the water, from the time I was about 9 on, dangling the handline off Rose Bay Pier into Sydney Harbour, actually laid the foundation of my later life as an art critic, because it quite simply, it taught me to look, to scrutinise, to see.
It was that love of fishing that almost killed him in 1999, when he was critically injured in a car accident near Broome in WA. His injuries and the court cases following the crash took a toll, from which many believed he never fully recovered.
People who haven't had bad bust-ups just don't know how fabulously boring it is to sit around listening to bones knitting.
Robert Hughes had a son, Danton, who died in 2002.
Danton was the big failure of my emotional life.
He's survived by his wife, Doris. Hamish Fitzsimmons, Late Line.